Hey, Christoph here, and thanks so much for selecting me to do this reading with you. In this video, we're going to be doing a 3-question, 15-card reading, which means I'm going to be pulling 5 cards for each one of your questions. Of course, thanks so much for providing me with your name and birth date and the additional information. Do note that I read through everything prior to starting the recording of this video, and also note that I will not be saying your name or be revealing your birth date in this video for your privacy. Let's go ahead and get started. Of course, my name is Christoph, and I consider myself a guide. My goal here is to read these cards as honestly and as accurately as I can in order to give you the information that you need to make those decisions necessary to move your life forward in a positive direction. Let's look at question 1. You would like to know whether you will progress in your career and get a promotion. Let's see what's going to be happening in the near future of your career. Will you be progressing in your career and get a promotion in the near future? Let's find out. We're pulling 5 cards for this question. Of course, the way that this is going to work, I'm going to flip each card over one at a time. With each card I flip over, I'm going to give you a brief description of each individual card, and then once all 5 cards are flipped over, I'll tell you what those cards are saying together. Of course, let's find out right now. Will you progress in your career and get a promotion? Here we go. We have the 10 of Swords. Oh boy, this is not starting out in a very nice way. We got the 10 of Swords, which represents backstabbing and betrayal. There's definitely some people, some energy that's working against you at present with your current career. Now, I don't know if it's like specific people that are trying to work against you, or if it's just that the energy isn't that great right now. But do note that the first card being backstabbing and betrayal, that's not a good way to start this question. And do note I read these cards as honestly and as accurately as I can, okay? So if this reading keeps getting negative, I will be honest with the meaning of the cards, okay? Let's take a look at the next one. The next one that we have here is the Moon. The Moon represents dreams and fantasies. Of course, what dreams and fantasies, we'll find out after we flip over the rest of the cards. Of course, we won't know the full answer until all the cards have been flipped over. For now, I'm just describing each individual card. The next card that we have here, this is actually a really good one. This is the Page of Cups. And the Page of Cups actually represents a delightful surprise. So it does represent something positive happening here, a positive change that is on the way. Let's keep going. The next card that we have here is the 9 of Pentacles. This is a really great card, okay? The 9 of Pentacles here talks about a great deal of opportunity. And the pentacles, they look like gold coins. A lot of people call this coins instead of pentacles. But the 9 of Pentacles here does represent positive outcome for the future. The pentacles also look like coins, so it also hints at money, so that promotion that you're looking for. And the last card that we have here, which could set the tone for this reading. Yeah, we got teamwork here, and that's really a great way to end this. Excuse me, sorry. So as far as your first question, there is some sort of energy that is working against you right now. I don't know whether or not it's a particular person or some sort of situation that you're working your way through. Do note that your dream and fantasy, in order to progress in your career and get a promotion, it's not just a dream and a fantasy. It's actually going to happen. A delightful surprise is on the way for you that's going to lead to some positive progress in your job and increase in money. And the better you end up getting along with as many people within your job career, the better it's going to be. I feel like there's just one person that's working against you right now. I think that that person won't be able to hold you back for very much longer. And I think that the more friends and the more positive connections you make with everyone around you in relation to your career, the quicker things are going to move forward for you in a positive way. It feels like a popularity contest, okay? So do note, if you want to progress in your career, if you want to get a promotion, it's about being as well liked as possible by as many people as possible. And do note that there is 1 or 2 people that are currently connected to your career that may be working against you. So do be very careful of these people. Keep an eye out for those that might be working against you. Let's talk about your love life, of course. For question 2, you said you just want insight on your love life. Of course, you did provide me information on the situation that you're in right now. Let's find out. I'm going to ask a different question for this. And for that, I'll have to reveal some information here. But there's 2 people right now that you're wondering whether or not you should pursue a relationship with. Of course, it's the person that you were with before. And it's, of course, this person that has come back into your life, okay? That I will refer to that person as guy number 2, okay? So this is the question that I'm going to ask. Will you be happier? Will you get what you want if you continue down the road with guy number 2? Will guy number 2 give you the relationship that you are looking for, or should you just continue on the path that you were on previously? That's the question I'm going to ask here. Let's see what the cards have to say of whether or not guy number 2 is a better option for you. Here we go. You ready? The first card that we have here, wow. We start with the death card. That is crazy. Okay. The death card, I'm going to tell you right now, nobody's dying. Okay. Not actual death. Okay. No actual death happening here. So don't worry about that. But what the death card essentially represents here is clearing the way of what is no longer needed in order to bring a bright future. In fact, death is clearing the way of all of these people, trampling these people to death in the card. Gotta love the tarot. Sometimes it's dark, but there's a sunrise in the background. Death is clearing the way of what is no longer needed in order to bring that bright future. Sometimes things have to end in order for something new to begin. And when you get the death card as the first card in a question or in a reading, that usually signifies that something big is going to change. Something big is happening. There's a big change on the way. Of course, the big change would be moving direction and moving towards the direction of guy number 2. Okay, so right now getting the death card here does symbolize that maybe you're going to be ending that previous relationship with that other person and moving in a new direction towards guy number 2. And what's really great about this card is that was the question that I asked. If you head in the direction of guy number 2, would things be better? So this means that this reading is focused. This card is the significator. This card represents that the cards understood the question, and we're going to get a pretty straightforward answer here. Now, do note, if we got the death card as the last card in this reading, it would basically say that things with guy number 2 was going to end, but because we got it at the beginning, it basically says that previous relationships will end in order to bring this new relationship forward. But let's see, if you sacrifice your previous relationships in order to move forward with guy number 2, what's going to happen? Let's find out. Here we go. The Lovers card. That's amazing. This is a fantastic card. This talks about a love connection between the two of you. Very powerful love connection. That's actually what we want to see. All right, but let's keep going. The next card that we have here is another amazing card. This is the Magician. The Magician here represents your ability to manifest that bright and positive future for yourself. It represents you able to make that future that you want. Okay, so it does say that if you end the previous relationships and you move in the direction of guy number 2, not only will you have a passionate, love-focused relationship, but you will also have the ability to move that relationship in the direction of your choice. We still got 2 cards left. Let's take a look at those ones. Oh, wow. We got the Hierophant here. The Hierophant here represents things following in tradition. So do note, if you move in this direction, you will have a more traditional relationship. And what's a more traditional relationship? It's a traditional relationship of trust. It's a strong bond that leads to a long-term exclusive relationship that perhaps moves towards marriage, maybe children. That's what the Hierophant here represents, especially when you're talking about relationships. It talks about a traditional relationship path, okay? And I do feel that you want a more traditional relationship, and that's what you'll get with this, with guy number 2. Let's take a look at the last card that we have here. And of course, this card will set the tone for this entire question. And we have the Ace of Swords. The Ace of Swords represents you having the power to move this forward. You get a choice, and that's the amazing part about life, especially your own life. You get to make the choices in regards to what direction you want to move forward into. Based on what I'm seeing here in the cards here, guy number 2 will most likely be able to give you what you want. A relationship with guy number 2 will allow you to make important decisions, will give you the ability to manifest the future that you want. A relationship with guy number 2 will be passionate and also traditional, and do note you will be in charge as to the direction that things move forward. Unfortunately, if you do want to move forward with guy number 2, it does mean that you will have to end any other relationship that you have right now. I think that guy number 2 will want to be exclusive, and it looks like that this is probably more in tune with what you want. Okay, now do note that you get to choose. All right, your main question here for question number 2 was you want insight on your love life. Well, guess what, you get to control what happens next. And based on what the cards are saying about guy number 2, guy number 2 may be what you've been looking for this whole time. Guy number 2 might give you the relationship that you truly want. Okay. Let's take a look at question number 3. Of course, you want to know if you will buy a property. Let's see what happens. Okay. Let's see what the cards have to say about you buying a property. Here we go. Here we go. All right. The first card that we have here is a tower. It represents disaster. That's not a good way for this to start, okay? Unlike the death card, this is a bad card to start with, okay? With the previous about the love reading, it represents previous relationships ending in order for this new one to begin. The tower is disaster, okay? The tower basically represents a tower that gets hit by lightning. The tower's on fire. People are jumping from the windows, and the tower essentially burns down to the ground till there is nothing but ashes. So right now, the very first card is saying no. It's saying no to you buying a property. At least it's saying no to you buying a property right now. Okay, let's see what the rest of the cards have to say, though. The next card that we have here is the Four of Wands, which represents family celebration. The Four of Wands actually is a card that also represents marriage. Interesting that this card could suggest that it may be better for you to buy a property after you're married, or buy a property once you are in a really great stable relationship with somebody that you trust. Interesting. The next card that we have here is the Devil. The Devil card here represents the fears and worries that will actually prevent you from purchasing a property. Okay, but let's keep going. The next card that we have here is the Nine of Cups, which does represent something moving forward eventually and you being proud as to what you've accomplished. And the last card here is Celebration. So here's what the cards are essentially saying. The cards are essentially saying, do not buy a property alone. And that's what it's saying right now. And only buy a property with someone else, and make sure that that person who you buy a property with, make sure that person is going to be your forever partner. Okay, so make sure it's somebody that you would marry, somebody that's a very strong relationship. You want to buy a property with somebody you're in a very strong relationship with, not an unstable relationship. And that's what these cards are essentially saying. So as far as buying a property, if you're trying to do so now on your own, do note it will end badly. It will be a disaster. The cards do suggest that you buy a property with your future partner, somebody who wants the real thing. And honestly, the way the energy is feeling here, it's basically like buy a property with guy number 2 or buy a property with somebody who you know that you're headed towards marriage territory, exclusive relationship, serious relationship. Do not buy a property with somebody that you're unsure with, and it's saying do not buy a property alone either, but it does say that eventually you will figure things out. Okay, you're going to have pride over what you've achieved, and you're going to be celebrating. I don't think that you're going to be buying a property soon. I think you probably will buy a property either at some point later this year or early next year. I feel like there's certain things that if you try to rush this through too soon, if you try to do this alone, there's kind of disaster in the future, which means, you know, maybe you get a mortgage, that sort of thing. Maybe something happens which makes it difficult for you to pay the mortgage. I feel like you're going to need like a safety net. You're going to need somebody to be there with you to help you as backup. Although I'm fully in belief that you could buy property and do everything on your own, I feel like there are some issues that may occur in the future. I don't know whether or not it's something in regards to the loan that you get for the house or whatnot, the mortgage that you get. But yeah, something seems like if you do this alone, you may be at a severe disadvantage. And I feel like it's something that's completely out of your control. I don't think it has anything to do with you or your credit rating or anything along that lines. I feel like it's just something that happens in the world. So do note, if you do decide to buy a property, make sure that you are not buying that property alone. Either buy that property with a close family member who isn't going anywhere, or buy that property with someone who you are 100% sure of that you'll be in a relationship with that person forever, or marriage. Okay, that's all I'm seeing here in the cards for you right now. Thanks so much for selecting me to do this reading. Of course, know that I'm here for you on Fiverr anytime you feel like another reading. Thanks so much.